Hi guys, today we're filming another episode of my podcast, That's Fine With Me. And I guess it's going to be the final part about my trip to China, how I lived in China. The rest is probably history. I will tell you guys about some stories that my husband and I faced, like frauds, and especially where teachers are paying you money, and a lot more. Let's get started. So when I lived in China, I told you a couple of times that my husband came to visit. It was in, if I'm not mistaken, October and in April. Well, the final sort of visit in April, we went to Beijing. So I flew from Dalian to Beijing, and my husband went from his city to Beijing as well, and from my city, basically. And I told you about the airport, that it's huge. We lost. It was really difficult to find each other because they had a lot of gates with the same name. It's like gate E or gate A. And then I talked to him. I said, like, okay, I'm standing and waiting around gate A. And he said the same thing, but we couldn't see each other. And then we turned out that it was a little bit different direction, and he had to take a train or bus, if I'm mistaken, to get to my gate A. Yeah, that was difficult. I can tell you for sure, my trip to China, it's just the food is amazing. It's so delicious. But in terms of sightseeing, you don't really have much, especially in Dalian City or even Beijing. You have Old City and this palace, and then you have Great Wall, the Temple of Sky, I guess, and maybe a little bit more sightseeing. But most of this is pretty much basic, like kind of Beijing. The metro is amazing. It's just so well developed. But at the same time, we were a little bit bored, though I really love food. So the food is amazing and it's so inexpensive. And I told you this a lot of times. When we went to this sort of palace, old city, old town, I don't know how to call it, we were coming back because it was like really, it was evening, so we were tired and going back to our hotel. And then out of nowhere appeared two women. They were Chinese. One of them talked in English pretty much okay. I mean, it was nice kind of pronunciation. And the second one was like really quiet. And the one that could speak English, she just came over and asked me if I was down to talk, like just some random talk. Or well, where are you from? What are you doing? Like that. And my husband was paired with this woman that couldn't speak English, just a little bit. And then they said, oh, it's so hot. And it was really hot. Don't you mind if we go to some cafe or maybe some, I don't know, not even restaurant. It's just not really far from here. We could probably just talk and have some tea. And that was my mistake. My husband was instantly cautious about this proposal. But I said, yeah, okay, let's go and just have some tea. So we went to this small kind of place, and my husband said that was suspicious because he found that there were like 3 or 4 rooms, and in every single room Chinese was sitting with a foreigner. So there were numerous foreigners right there, and we were in some other room, and then we wanted to turn on the conditioner, but it was off. So you kind of the head is foggy, and you can't understand what is literally going on. And then we ordered some tea, and there was just some green tea. And this tea costs us a fortune, literally, because we paid. And then my husband said he doesn't really want to drink tea, so he ordered some espresso. And I had tea. Both of these girls had a small pot of tea, like a really tiny pot of tea, green tea. And then when we were done, I said, yeah, I'm kind of fine. I don't really want to drink anything. I don't really want to eat anything. My husband said, yeah, he didn't drink tea at all. And then they kind of brought us some check, the bill, and the bill said 200 yuans. So 200 yuans is not a huge amount of money, but back then it was probably like maybe $30 or $40, maybe like $30 or $40 back then. I'm talking about 2018. And we were like, okay, super expensive tea, but okay, this is the center of the city, so probably it's not really expensive. And they didn't include his coffee. It was just sort of included. And then these women said that 200 yuans from a couple, not even a couple, but like they came together, so they have to give 200 yuans. And then my husband and I, had to give 200 yuans. And my husband was like, I saw the price. The coffee was like 30 or 40 yuans, and then I had to pay sort of the rest. And I was shocked, but at least I realized that it was some sort of scam. So we gave this 200 yuans, though it was weird that each of us had to pay 200, like 100 from each person. And then they said like, oh, now let's go to some circus and just have some fun. And that moment I said, no, we have to go. So no, bye. And they disappeared. And then we talked, and then my husband said that like these are frauds, and this type of kind of deals, they're normal for China if you're in the center of the city, and they actually find foreigners and then they take this to the place where it's really hot, you get like really fuzzy, let's say, not even fuzzy, but just you can't think straight. And right this moment, they try to pursue some drinks or something that is super expensive and it doesn't really cost that much. And I have no idea. Probably some foreigners, they're like, no, I'm not going to pay. Or some foreigners, they're saying like, it's super expensive or something. Why do we need to split or something like this? I don't know. But we had like a little bit, we didn't think straight. That was the main reason why we just gave this 200 yuans. It's not much of a big deal. It's not a lot of money, but this is still a lot. And I know this type of situations happens in different countries. I watched some video where a guy, he was sort of some sort of guide, and he showed a place in a bar. It was Cuba, if I'm not mistaken, Cuba. And then they came to this bar, and the mojito or some other drink, it costed like $30 per one drink, and this guy said it's just incredibly expensive. Why does it cost that much? And he started talking and saying that I'm not gonna pay that much money. And they kind of like were okay, just like go away and something like this. But they get a lot of money out of tourists who are paying for this. So be careful if you go to China or any other city, country, whatever. Like whenever you feel like a tourist and you are a tourist, that might happen in my occur because a lot of people, they actually try to rip you off as a tourist because you don't understand language, you don't know the laws, just all of that is super weird and cringy. And that happened only once, and later on we know, like, we learned from our mistakes and we didn't talk to any other Chinese. So be careful. And we didn't go anywhere else with Chinese in any other restaurants or cafes. By the way, it's really it's a common thing to pay tourists sometimes. Not even tourists. I had a guy in my group, he was from Italy, and he lived in China maybe a year before he came to China with us. And he said that a lot of Chinese, they literally paid money for taking photos with him. And when every single Chinese tried to take a photo with him, he wanted to take money for taking photos. I kind of get it at some point, and I don't really get it. First of all, a lot of Chinese, they really want to take photos with you. And this guy, he said, okay, if you want to get a photo with me, then just you have to pay. You're not a monkey. I mean, like, though I don't really support taking photos with animals, I feel it's cruel. But I mean, if you want to take a photo with a snake or monkey or I don't know, fox, kitten or something like this, you have to pay. But this time you are sort of monkey. That's why I feel it's more or less okay to get paid for this type of photos. But on the other hand, if people are asking you to take photos with them, I don't know, it's a little bit crazy to take payments for that. I wouldn't take payments, and I didn't take payments for this type of photos. They are crazy about foreigners, and that is the main reason why they're willing to even pay to take photos with you. But most of the time, at first, they're going to ask, like, can I take a photo with you? But not every single person. I mean, like, old people, they're not going to ask you. Most of the time, they're not going to ask you. Young people, young generation, they would probably ask, or they would just secretly take photos of you, like from behind or under jackets. They have some cameras. That's why, yeah, this is another story to tell you guys. My teacher paid us money. So it was a little bit weird because she actually invited us over. That was like the classes were over and we had some free time, like lunch or something like this. And she asked us to come over around 3 p.m. And she explained that she was writing some, I don't know, some diploma, or she was conducting some study. And that was the main reason why she needed some foreigners. She's a teacher, basically. And that's why she needed some foreigners to participate in the study, how some methods are working or not working when people come to study Chinese, foreigners come to study Chinese. And we, of course, politely came over. We didn't expect anything, of course. Like in most of the countries, especially European countries, when your teacher tells you to come, you just come and you help. I mean, it's just something that you do. And in China, they pay for your free time. And she literally gave each of us 20 yuans. That is not a lot, but it's still like enough money to have a good meal in China. For 20 yuans, I could buy for 12 yuans. I could buy some sushi and like tuna sushi. I could afford like maybe 10 or 12 of them. I could afford maybe some big noodles. The cost was, if I'm mistaken, 12 yuans. And for 6 yuans, I could have boba. And yeah, so basically that was a great meal. We didn't really want to accept this, but she didn't ask. All of us, I told you in my previous episodes, had WeChat. With the help of WeChat, all of our kind of teachers had our contacts. And through WeChat, you actually transfer money. The only problem was with the girl that was my group mate, and I have no idea why she didn't want to have any bank card. I guess she didn't really want to pay for something, or I don't know. And that was the main reason why she had no WeChat. And that was when happened that this teacher transferred 20 yuans and she couldn't take them, mainly because she had no bank card. And she told this teacher that, I'm sorry that you transferred money, but I have no card. That's why like no money were transferred. And she transferred this to one of my group mates, another 20 yuans. So she said that she had to give you like this 20 yuans so you could probably have a good meal. That was nice, really nice. In kind of Chinese style. I remember everywhere we went. So first of all, China doesn't have a lot of alcohol. I mean, it does, but vodka, or as they call it, I feel like it's sake. Or I know that sake is Japanese, but I didn't see anywhere else like little Chinese vodka and beer. So you do have a lot of beer in China, but it is like I don't even know. It's like sort of lemonade or something like lemonade. I don't know. It's not strong. The beer is not strong. So you have to take maybe like 20, 30 of these beers to get drunk. And I can tell you for sure, because when we went to Dalian or Beijing, we went to this bar, and a lot of Chinese, they love drinking. And they had so much beer, and they were a little bit tipsy. I guess they were tipsy, but they had literally like 30 or 40 beers, like bottles of beer. It's not strong. And I brought home, I remember my husband and I, we purchased some vodka, and my husband brought it home and he gave it to my dad. And my dad tried this out with my husband. First of all, it's not strong enough. It's just not strong at all. And the second thing, it has some fragrance, some sort of scent or fragrance. And like rose or something. And my husband, my dad, they concluded that it's just similar thing as some perfume. So it's basically like you're drinking some perfumes. And they didn't really like it. When we graduated and we had final exams, my group and I, we all went to this bar where we had some drinks, when we had some meal. It was just like final time when we were hanging out. And then we went to the bar, and I said that literally, guys, I don't drink. I don't drink at all. I hate the smell of alcohol. I hate the flavor. It's burning. It's just not my cup of tea. And I went there saying the same thing, and then they just like offered some beer and I guess vodka. So a mix of beer and vodka, kind of vodka. And I had a couple of shots. Honestly, nothing happened. As a person who doesn't drink at all, I felt absolutely nothing. Nothing. I know that it can be really strong, especially in European countries. Especially, I guess, Russian vodka is crazy. I did try a small drop of Russian vodka once, and I didn't really want to taste anymore. It just literally dropped to my tongue, so I didn't drink it. It's kind of, I can't even explain. It's just, And yeah, my parents, by the way, they always told me that I have to drink at home. So they were never against drinking. I mean, like not heavy drinking, of course. But my mom, she always told me like, if you want to try out Bella's, go ahead and drink it. My friends came over once. We were, I guess, 17, maybe 18. I don't remember. And I asked my mom, like, we have Bella's. Can we drink? And she said, yeah, of course you can. And it's funny to say my girls, they did drink Baileys. I had probably less than a shot, and I was like, I can't. I literally just can't drink alcohol. But it's a little bit different story to tell you guys. So when we went to Beijing, they have a lot of stores. So most of the stores are filled with Chinese products, and you can find so many things like penises, like dried penises, or maybe 1,000-year eggs. Though it's not actually 1,000-year egg, it's some sort of like it's boiled in soy sauce, and I'm not really sure about the technology how they cook this, but I know it's boiled in soy sauce. So yeah, my husband purchased some penises and he brought it home to share with his colleague, and yeah, they had the most wonderful time discussing all of that, and it's literally like it costs chicken peas. And the most expensive thing I kind of saw in China was the most expensive thing was probably like cucumbers, some sort of like sea cucumbers or seafood cucumbers. I don't know. They actually sell them in boxes, and these boxes are like very expensive, super expensive, and you can't even order this in some restaurants or it's going to cost you a fortune. I don't know what this is, but it didn't look really nice and it didn't look tasty and delicious, so I just kind of skipped this meal. I know that in Dalian, and not only Dalian, but in a lot of Chinese cities, huge cities, not even huge cities, just Chinese cities, you have like a real city where a lot of people live. And then for purchasing something and some sort of malls, you have huge malls, but at the same time, a lot of malls are underground, so underground floors, and it is the second city. Basically, when we went to Dalian, it was very like you can't even spot this place, and then you see that everyone goes down like underground, and then you go there. A lot of food is involved, a lot of different kind of. I purchased this New York City cap, and I can tell you that I was literally just written for this cap. Basically, that was a bargain. I paid 50 yens for one cap. Cheapest thing ever. My husband, he wanted to buy very inexpensive sort of bag, a small bag for a wallet and a phone, like phone case, and that was pretty much it. That was something that he needed to like walk around and don't really bring all of the stuff in his pockets. And that's why we were looking for the cheapest, not the cheapest thing, but we wanted to find something with no logo, basically something super plain, and we found Philip Plain bag. I wasn't into logos, let's say, and trends and luxury products. I'm still not into that. But when we came home, we purchased that for 1 yuan. It's just some chicken peas, I guess. Back then it was like $10, maybe $20 for one bag. And then at first they wanted 150, and then we kind of lowered the price to 100 yuan. And then when we came home, we checked out because there was some name like Philip Plain, and it turned out that it's just some sort of design bag. But we didn't know that when we purchased. There was some small little kind of logo of Philip Plain. That's why we kind of purchased that. And then, can you believe it? It's been 5 years and my husband still wears this bag a lot. And it's still really good quality. When you go to China, you know that a lot of those kind of bags and a lot of those things that you purchase, they're really high quality. And when you see that in maybe your country, it's just super expensive thing and it's made in China, you're like, oh, that's bad quality. But in China, it is really good quality. Another really common thing in China is that you can find so many sort of Russian products like kvass or rязанка, or I don't know how to call this in English because they're like no equivalent in English. As Joshua Weissman said, kefir, but in Russian it's called kefir. So it's a little bit different pronunciation. And I know it because I'm from Russia. And I know it because it's my native language. So you can find a lot of this, but I tried out a lot of the products. Basically, it was rязанка. It's sort of like kefir, as they say kefir, but it's kefir. And a lot of these products, they're sweet. So it's really, I can't drink it. In Russia, we don't really add any sweeteners to those products as kefir or rязанка. Kvass is some sort of kombucha. It's some sort of kombucha. So if you've ever tried kombucha, it's similar to kvass, but it's just kombucha has fruity flavor, and kvass is made with bread. That is the main reason why it was so different from what I got used to, but it wasn't bad. It tasted like lemonade, and it's weird that they have so many sort of Russian products, but all of these products, they're not Russian at all, and they taste bad. For example, I saw cucumbers and pickles. I didn't really want to purchase that 'cause it's quite expensive. A lot of Russian products in China are super expensive, and especially I had a bakery, Russian bakery, not really far from a campus. We came there once, but a piece of bread was crazy. It was a crazy amount of money, like 20 or 30 yuans for like a small piece of bread. It is very expensive, super expensive for just bread. And they had a lot of like buckwheat. Buckwheat is super popular in Russia, but I hate buckwheat. I don't really eat it. It's just not my sort of kasha. It's not my type of kasha. Yeah, I love rice. And in China, I tried first time in my life, I guess, I tried this type of rice that is super, I guess it's Vietnamese rice. I'm not really sure, but I guess it's Vietnamese rice where you have like, it's super, it has some glue. I guess it's sort of glue, not glue, of course, but it has a lot of starch, this rice starch. And it is like real porridge. So if you add, if this sort of rice is cooked, and then in the morning after refrigerating this porridge, let's say, you add milk and then just put this in a microwave, it is like real porridge, delicious, amazing porridge. Not like rice and milk, but like a real porridge. It is the most delicious rice I've ever tried in China. And I'd say China has all year around, they have a lot of fruits and vegetables, and even strawberries you can find almost all year round. But of course, peaches and some sort, yeah, a lot of peaches. I purchased them in August and September, but in October, peaches were really bad and you can't eat it. And I threw away a lot of these peaches. They were frozen peaches, I guess. And then maybe only in July you get access to peaches again, but they love pineapples. You can find pineapples everywhere, and they actually cut this in small shapes, and then they sell them on like not a real pineapple, but you can find this on a toothpick, sort of toothpick. I guess a third of a pineapple, and then you eat this. I actually had a lot of pineapples in China, and right now I can't even eat this. And at some point, I thought like I love strawberries, and then in China, you can get them for like chicken peas, and it's super inexpensive and affordable. And I had my strawberries a lot. That was the main reason why I thought it's going to be some sort of allergy involved later on, but no, thank God I have no allergy for strawberries, not for now. By the way, I would say it's really cheap to purchase vegetables in the market. And it's much cheaper than in a real shop, and you can buy more. But in terms of seafood, it's better to buy this in Walmart. By the way, every single evening, a lot of Chinese, they had some sort of group, and then they were dancing. I know this is probably super, I guess this. If you have any idea what is China about, it's about old people dancing in the streets, and they just, I don't know, bring somewhere music and they start clubbing. You can participate. It's not only old people. I remember once we came there and we were like dancing. It was super, super cool. Yeah, that was crazy. Not crazy, it was cool. I mean, I remember a lot of old people, they're super kind to you. And by the way, I remember when I wanted to go from my campus to airport, there were like some sort of taxes, and they knew right at the end of the year, they actually offered to get you from your campus to, let's say, airport. It was scary because like I was alone going home, and then of course you couldn't find any bus around 4 a.m. in the morning, and that was difficult to find. So I had to find some taxi. And I got this guy for 100 yuans. I actually paid him, and he delivered me from one place to another, and then he gave me his number. And when I was coming home from my city to China back there, I wrote him my flight number, and he was literally meeting me there. I felt like princess and queen, actually, because I just, for 100 yuans, it's not a lot. I paid 50 yuans for a bus to get me, and he actually offered, like, it was twice pricier, but I was alone. He helped with the baggage. He carried us around. He met me in the airport. So I kind of wrote him where I needed to go. That was nice. That was nice. And yeah, he kind of brought me from airport to my campus in March. And that was kind of it, guys. I don't really think what else I can add. I mean, of course, I didn't swim. I didn't actually swim in the sea because it was a little bit cold, and I saw that no one used this, and it didn't have any sand on the beach. That's why it was difficult to swim, and I was a little bit afraid of some sort of, like maybe if I got into something that could damage me, that would be a problem for me to go to hospital, because we went to hospital once. We paid some money for the hospital. They told us that we have to pay for the insurance, medical insurance. We came there once, and I guess this wasn't the best idea to go to their nearest hospitals, because it turned out the campus had one girl and she had TB. It's like lung problem, and it is super contagious. So all of us had to take x-ray, lungs x-ray, but unfortunately, they missed the fact that she had TB and it was super contagious. And then maybe only in 2-3 months, when she started coughing with blood, they found out that she had TB. And they isolated every single person that had any sort of contact with her. And later on, they were a little bit more cautious. But I tell you that I wouldn't trust some hospital that couldn't see on x-ray a TB. So yeah, it's probably not the best idea to go there and have, maybe not in a hospital that we went, but at least I believe it's not the best idea to go to China and take some medicine, because their medicine is a little bit different from European. They believe in this balance of just energies. And I remember when we had some sort of colds, our teacher told us that they just drink some hot water and nothing else. I don't really mind this, but when you have a cold, a bad cold, I guess hot water is not just going to help you out. You need at least some medicine to take pills, and at least, I don't know, just some other things. Okay, guys, that was the final part of my trip to China. I don't really have anything to add. In case you have any sort of questions, you can always ask me. That's Fine With Me podcast. Mail down the description box. You can find this and ask me any sort of questions. And yeah, probably next time I'm gonna talk about Russia. Why not? Basically, I'm Russian, and how I live here, what I think, my thoughts, and whatever. But I don't know. Okay, guys, and I'm gonna see you next time. Hopefully, love you all. Bye bye.